Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I know. You guys can hear me now. I'm the pretty tall guy, but I'll go through it. I think we got some cool bridges over there. Very nice bridges. Can somebody tell me what's the bridge on the top left corner over there? No, you're not allowed to see. You're not part of it. You already did that bridge before. Okay. Okay, that's a Lincoln Viaduct. The one on the right, top right, is the Arlington Memorial Bridge that we recently did a rehab for like 5 years, rehab that bridge. We spent over $230 million. I don't know. It's a lot of money. And that's the one on the bottom left is the bridge at NASA Wallops that they run their rockets on the other side, right? We currently have a rehab project going on. And this one on the bottom right is currently working, Foothill Bridge 2 over in, okay, let me just not spend too much time on this bridges. I love them. So basically, I know this is no brainer. That's why we're here. we have a problem with the way we currently design bridges. And as you guys know, most of the bridges in the US were built around, most of them, like 1950s, 60s. They're already 50 years old. They were supposed to last or design lifespan of 50 years. But some of them, as you look at them, they're like, some of them, even in the park service, we got some of them that are over 100 years old. So this was recently, like, I think in May, around April, that we submit the MBI data. So this just shows you some agencies that we do collaborate with or do bridge management, bridge inspection, bridge design for them. So the Park Service, which is our major client, owns it's about 85% of the work that we do in-house. So they're getting up there, so they're like, average age is 52 years, so everything is very close to 50, so we got to do something with our bridges. So I know I had this slide in there. My boss don't like it, but I like it because I think we're more of 911 than 911 always panicking, calling it out now, while we should do something about it before it gets to that one. So we're more of like reactive, meaning that we wait till it's already falling down and we try to create a solution instead of working on it. And I complain, the Park Service during pre-COVID, they used to simple. Anybody can sweep a deck, right? I don't think it's that difficult. You don't need no degree to sweep. But now, even to sweep a deck, just to make sure the scoppers are clean, is a problem. They say, we don't have personnel to clean it. What am I going to do? So most of the attributes, this is where the bridge inspection, the data comes in, because the work we do, there's some data that's required by the MBI, National Bridge Inventory, to collect the data. But luckily for us, for over, I think since as far back as if I can remember, since 1985, with the Park Service, we do collect more data than required by law. So some of the other stuff that we consider, like we do bridge replacement, of course, bridge rehab, bridge painting, which is, I know I'll get to slides now, the new SMBI that's going to come in, there will be a coding for bridge painting, but currently, with the NBI coding, there is no code for bridge painting. If the brick lost painting and the thing is all lost, all sign is gone, you either code it on, you just put the defect on the item 59, but it doesn't really contribute any deduction on item 59. So it's basically just lost in the woods. So, and bridge paint is important. Bearing replacement, I know bearing are pretty important, but the bearing can be really bad. What do you do with it? Do you put it on item 59? I don't think the coding guy said anything about that. So overlay, which is another problem to protect the deck, joints are a big problem, and depending on what area you're in, like in Blue Ridge, we have a lot of bridges there. Some of the joints, like a quick story, about 5-10 years ago, we were doing an overlay job. Instead of them saw cutting at the joints so that they will still have that movement in there, they just went and overlaid the whole thing. So guess what? About 2 years ago, we have the same problem. The joints keep popping up. It keep cracking the same place. They need to move. So joints replacement. So the things on the right, which we do consider when we do most of this modeling, Of course, we consider age, fracture critical, non-redundant steel members, so we call them NSTM now. High ADT, because we do have, I don't know whether it is high ADT, and sometimes other bridges that are having clearance issue. I have a bridge in DC, a Coca-Cola truck, around May, June, a Coca-Cola truck will go through that bridge and will always get stuck. They gotta deflate the tires to get the truck out, and it also will scratch the upper part of the deck. So, as you guys know, let me just put time and get. These are my people. He's doing the old method on the top left, doing a chain drag, which I don't like because I think that's old method. We gotta find something. And that's not over there. One of my guys doing using what? What's he using the D meter, like say? What is he using? D meter over there doing thickness gauge or something. And that's our snooper over there. This is a bridge in Trace, which I normally tell high school kids when they come over, it's the McDonald Bridge, because it's two M's together. So I just lie to them and tell them it's the McDonald Bridge, and they have good fun of it. It's not the McDonald Bridge. So how do we determine? You can collect all the data you want, do whatever you want, but what you do with the data, I think, is more important than how much data you collect. So for us, we collect the data and we kind of analyze it in a way, look at it and see, kind of spit it out. We have, like, whether you like it or not, I think in the bridge industry, we have three groups of bridges. The new ones that have no problems, right? And the ones that we know that are already dead, they just get into better to be replaced. And the one in the middle. I think the reason why we're here all is because of not the very new ones, the ones in the middle. We want to keep a good handle of the ones in the middle so that they couldn't go to the other side. So basically, this is just a flow chart that tells you once a bridge is over 60 years and it has any of those conditions, and it's over 60 years, we pretty much do an evaluation, which I'll show on another slide. We'll do an evaluation whether do we need to replace it or can we save rehab. Unless you can tell me, I don't know any rehab bridge or any project, depending on what's wrong with the bridge, that you can get more than maybe 20, 30 years if you're lucky. And that's it. And sometimes you might rehab it for other reasons, but if you look at the attributes, sometimes it might work. If it's going to be more than 50% of the cost, you might just replace the bridge. So, bridge painting. I know people were like, yeah, in Eastern Federal Land, how you guys know whether the bridge needs to be painted? Believe it or not, for us, we have an item code, and I know people in here in the room wouldn't make me lie about it. There's an item code. It's a 400 level and a 300 level. It's not required by NBA coding, but since when we do our bridge inspection program, we have to certify not only the NBA coding, and also there is some data that we collect, extra data, for the different agents that we work for, so that they can do their programming themselves, because they need to. So we have, easily, if the brick was last painted 20 years, no brainer. If it's painted last, the paint is 20 years old, we try to repaint it, provided any of those other conditions, it didn't hit any of them. Okay, I know, just to summarize this thing a little bit, if a bridge, item 59 on the bridge, we looked at it, MBI coding, superstructure, item 59 is a 4. The bridge needs painting. Do I paint it, or do I really think about replacing the bridge? I think painting at that time is really gone. It might spend a lot, and some of these bridges, like we did one in John Monroe Bridge, the only reason we painted, because the park want to keep the bridge and stuff, it's going to cost just the containment that they're going to put on those gutters and painting the bridge is over $2 million. And just painting it. Okay, that's painting. The next one, I know people like bearing, yeah. Are they important? To me, they're very, very important. Because in order to transfer the loads from those superstructure gutters and beams to the substructure, you need something in between. And sometimes the bearing, they're just there. And I know you guys inspect bridges before that you've seen the bearing. It's nothing but a timber block that they put in there. That's all. What is he doing? That's all he's doing. It's a timber block. But if a timber block is deteriorated, now you have the whole beam jamming on the concrete. So, but bearings need to be replaced or looked at. Mm-hmm. Okay, overlay. Important, not important. I think it depends on how the overlay was, original bridge was constructed. I have a bridge, a couple of them on George Washington Memorial Parkway. The deck was built with not that much cover on it, I think about less than 2 inches. They put an overlay on it, but they didn't do a good job putting the overlay. So now, the overlay debonded with the original deck. So if I go there, I will know it, but most people will like, what is that sound? I could always hear it. If I go over the bridge, you will see a popping noise. The overlay has already separated with the concrete deck, and we currently have a contract fixing it, so they got a demolition of the deck like 2 inches below the top mat, and yeah, to fix it, yeah, they have to fix it. So joint replacement, I just tell you that is also important. Again, we're not required by MBA coding to collect what kind of joints we have, but we do have a 400 level. You see it's saying there a 400 level, so if the joint is exactly less than, more than 20 years, we tend to replace them. Okay. With all that stuff I've been saying for the last 5-10 minutes, I might all throw everything in the window, right? Will that all those things might not be valid once we start doing the SMBI, right? Which is going to be implemented, which is going to be by law. I think is what, March 2026, something like that, right, Erin? It's around March 2026 sometime. So we no longer be going to be collecting NBI coding, and believe it or not, I personally like the SMBI coding because it speaks language that I can understand. That other language is just relative. Somebody in Bridgewall will know what a 5 or a 6 is, and then I'll start arguing with Aaron. I don't think it's a 5, it's a 4, or maybe it's a 6, it's a 7. What are we talking about? But if I say it's good, everybody knows what good is. If I say it's bad, everybody knows what bad is. If I say it's poor, so the SMBI basically, and the SMBI also will have more data collection that you will need for bridge preservation and bridge management that we're going to put in. Okay. Likewise, this is all just 2 slides. The 2 slides just telling the SMBI will have all these things that will be there. And the last but not the least, that's what I've been talking about. That's where we don't want to be. We want to make sure we preserve a bridge, do what is required to make sure that we don't get to that condition stage, the element being that poor, that we have to think about replacing it. Okay. Okay, this is nothing but a data bank. It's just a Windows application that we use. It helps us, the Power BI that we use in the office, it just helps us to sort out the data and to see where all the weeds lie. And it's pretty easy with Power BI for upper management because those people, they don't want to, not that they're not technical, but they want to get to the weeds. They don't want to get in the weeds. They just want straight point answers. Tell me how many bridges are poor and where they are when you stayed and what do I have to fix them to get them to be good. That's all. And we can, with our Power BI, which of course this is the front face of it, the back face, which we do, will have algorithms and name or whatever thing we use in it. I just showed the face what it looks like. So that definition is our definition for us, but bridge preservation might mean something other than that definition. To me and our group that I work with, this is what we define it as. All you're trying to do is to systematic process, whatever you call your process. Maybe you can have 10 bridges and say, I'm going to line them up this way, and this is what I'm going to consider. These are the attributes I'm going to consider. That's your system. For us, we might have a different system, but it's just a system. And all you're trying to do is to make sure that, I know there's a slot machine back there, like Aaron was telling. I won't go back there and play it because I don't go. But all you're trying to do is to such of a gamble because you're trying to focus and your recommendation what they're going to be. And sometimes we all know the bridge is not what the model that you think is going to happen is not what happens. So it's just you're trying your best to come up with a solution in the future. So of course it's a lot of data driven. And the last one is the one I don't like because I know the computer scientists are happy in there because all they care about is algorithm here and there. Yeah, give me all the algorithm, but I want to think about the bridges, the asset themselves, and with the history, what I know, and where they're at, and how, when we inspect different aspects of it, then I'll prioritize them. So believe it or not, I'll show you some Excel files of what they come up with and how we move stuff around. So So in our office, most of the bridge preservation and bridge management lists, these are the stuff that we consider. Yeah. I know we might miss some, but these are the stuff that normally with the park service, with about 2,800 bridges, NBI and non-NBI bridges, these are normally the problems that we think they can do something about it before it gets to the port state and will help the bridge. Okay. In our bridge inspection report, this page is not required anywhere in the bridge inspection report, but we put there this page, which is, if I believe it or not, I think it's the third page in our inspection report. It's something like a mini one-page bridge management, bridge preservation page that we put in the bridge inspection report, because the owner needs to know, number one question, what's wrong with the bridge? How much is it going to cost me to fix it? Those are the two questions they ask. And by looking at this page for them, they might not even be bridge guys, but they will know it's total on the bottom. It tells you what's wrong with the bridge. And that item 226 is a bridge, is an item that we created in-house. So it gets together A, B, C, D. It tells you critical what's A, what's B, what's C. So for bridge preservation, I know I'll show more slides later on, but most of the time, it's the bridges that in the C and the Ds. Maybe you call them, in C's, we call them high C's and low C's. That's where you want to catch them before they go to B, because when they go to B, they might be major rehab and high dollar amounts that you're going to spend. So like I was explaining the slide before, so our goal most of the time is to make sure that we got, I know it's impossible, we try to get most of our bridges above maybe have a health index of 90 and above, meaning that they're pretty good, they can survive at least for the next, say 0 to 5 years, at least 2 inspection cycles. So we get the priority of improvement, that code item 226 is an in-house created code. It's not in the MBI coding, because as you guys know, anything more than 130 you won't find in the MBI coding. So item 206 is what we created. So we do prioritize them this way, and then we do this not only for our bridges, also for our tunnels too, because we do have quite a lot of tunnels too. So, in order to get the happy medium and get the client happy, whatever amount of money they gave us, we tend to spend 75% of the money between A and B and maybe some C's, but 75% of the money we tend to spend it on A and B. But the big but that happened was the Arlington Memorial Bridge. The Park Service, and it got us off guard. Nobody was thinking that we're going to spend that much money. So they have to go to Congress to look for money, and they end up spending, which is not good, because they want to see what they spend their money on. You're spending on one bridge about $250 million, and with all the other bridges sometimes in a dire condition, they were like, oh, why didn't you spread it out on it? So for now, what we're trying to do to make sure that that wouldn't happen, we're looking, forecasting, up to like 15, 20 years out, which bridges are going to be similar to the Arlington Memorial Bridge, so that they will know when to go to Congress to ask for that money to fix it. So, okay, sorry, next one. Okay, I know this slide is meant here not for you guys to read, but it's just a slide here to show you that when we submit to our client, we rank the bridges or different conditions, all the bridges, and we rank them sometimes, like the Park Service instance, they have 7 different regions. Sometimes we rank them even per facilities, meaning per park. They have 149 different parks. And like, for instance, if I take an example, like the Southeast region, which is the biggest region for the National Park Services, we got about, Southeast region, those which is Blue Ridge, you name it, Blue Ridge, Great Smoky Mountain, NASA Trace, those are the biggest ones that have you'll have at least 40 to 50% of the inventory. So we rank them and tell them how much it costs, what's wrong with the bridge, and what you got to do with it to fix it. I know that's bridge money. Okay. So the park also, I'm joking of laughing here. The park also asks for a bridge preservation list. Like I joked earlier, some of the list is nothing but trimming trees down. They don't do it. Sweeping the deck. They're like, oh, we don't have people to sweep the deck. And look at one person now, cleaning the gutters. is a headache for them. Cleaning the joints. So this the IDIQ is the next one that we normally do for them. So, close on time. Okay, I'll be done in 3 minutes. So the IDIQ contracts that we normally do for the park, each year, the park tend to spend about maybe $500,000 on just the small stuff. By the way, this 500,000, the work they do for these different facilities don't involve any permit requirement or NEPA requirements, just simple stuff that don't involve no permit. Then we try to stay away from doing scour work or anything. We stay away from the stream, basically, to make sure that we'll get as much for our buck on preservation side to keep this bridge going. So that's which one is it? There's a trace. That's a lot of money that they're spending. Just nothing. If you look at the list, I know it's kind of small, but most of it is cleaning the gutters, unsound concrete, removing concrete here and there, painting. Okay. So bridge management, basically, all this stuff fall under bridge preservation or anything. All this stuff, we tend to give it to the park to do it. And sometimes the park might not say they don't have the person to do it. They'll contract it out and pay somebody to do it, depending on which region they are at. I don't want to give any advertisement for anybody, but currently, as to where that's what we're using, but it's what we're using. We're trying to work it out to make sure it does what we need and all that. Okay. MBI data processing, I think most of you guys, the data that you do for us, we have to submit to our headquarters, and they have to run through algorithm to make sure the data is inclined with what they think, and the data makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, they will reject it and send it back to us for us to fix it and to. Okay, what our program is with the park, so far with our 147 facilities, we were able to, do bridge inspection and bridge management for them, and telling them bridge that they get a pre-shaft, and we're saving them. It's a cost saving for them, actually. They're making them, I think, I know this is self-explanatory, I don't want to read it, but we're all working on it. And the last bullet point over there, I think everybody in this room will take care of that when the time comes. We need to get a program that will help us do the new SMBI, because the SMBI is a whole total different animal from all the other attributes that I just gave you. I think that's it. You guys have any questions? I can take one or two. Okay. You got a mic?
Are a lot of your bridges considered historic?
Believe it or not, a lot. And some of those are the trouble ones. They are over 100 years old.
You have to end up rehabbing over replacing, right?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Sometimes it depends. Sometimes there's bridges that I know. There's some bridges that are built pre-Civil War. They don't want to touch them. Some of them are even not bridges as such. They just stack stones together. They want to preserve them. The boathouse, there's
All right, I think we're going to have to
yeah, you guys can
ask questions later. Thank you very much.